Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US tech stocks. And we've certainly seen a bit of a bloodbath out there. We've seen $1 billion sort of rotate into the utilities and real estate section, and only 300 million in ETFs into the tech sector. Now, obviously, when a market pushes down, we all tend to panic a little bit and so on. So in my case, I just like to take the next logical step. So when we'd been speaking before, we were looking at this move coming up here, and we're looking for 5 waves up here. Now, it could be counted in different ways because it was a little bit overlapping in this little area here and so on. But whichever way you want to look at this situation, we were looking for one more little push up to get to this one here. So the next logical step is to bring this into here and this into here, and then look for a larger wave fall of 1 degree higher. So that's what we'll do. Now we can see on the weekly here that the stochastics, I've got it running pretty fast, is moving to the downside here, but it's moving down pretty low. So we should find support. You would imagine that we would find some sort of support on these in this little space in here, wouldn't you? So we're not far off that at that point there. So we should be looking for a pattern that could complete into this space here, and of course we need stock to do that as well. So that's really what we'd be looking for. Okay, so yeah, now if the market's going to move down further, well then we'll look at that, but we'll just go one step at a time, which is the right thing to do. And when we go to the daily chart here, then we can look at it like this. And I find this quite interesting really, because this move down here on the NASDAQ we can count as 5 waves, but for the S&P it counts very nicely as 3 waves down to this point. Now, even though it's in 3 waves, it's not confirmed that it's corrective. Let's just assume that for a moment, or imagine the market moving much lower down here, then this would be down for 1, back for 2, down for 1, back for 2, and so on at that point. But it is interesting that there is 3 waves in this little section here, where the NASDAQ has got 5 waves. So in this instance here, I could look at it as an ABC pattern here. I could look at it as a WXY here. And so there's a dozen different types of corrections, and we get them all in wave 4, so we need to always be a little bit mindful of how we do this. This little section here can also be counted differently as well, so you might see another chart on intraday level counted a little bit differently, and that's okay too. But either way, we've got to put this particular top in here. As I mentioned, even last week, because on the Friday we looked at the possibility of it coming down further. So on the 5,300. We're going to, it's a top of minor group 1 here. So number 3 is really important. The strongest number is 1, and then 5, and then 8, and then 3. So it's, it's a sort of a weird number, but, you can see that it had a good consolidation here, and the top here shied off that particular number. So in this space here, I was thinking between 2 and 3 here, 200 and 300, we'd be looking for some support in that space there. Now, the thing is from B to C here, if it was B to C here, I'd be counting 5 waves down, but because we've got 3 waves here, I also need to be aware that we could go a WXY here as well and have 3 waves down here. There's nothing to do today, but I do believe that the market will shore itself up a little bit, still edge lower in stock and these here, even for a few days. But I just think we need to, just take our time with it, and not to panic, and don't forget to breathe and all those sort of things. So it's looking a little bit like this. So I could look at this here as a little 1 and 2 in here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a third wave here, a fourth wave and a fifth wave, something like this. That's what I was kind of thinking a little bit, and it'll get a bit rough and bouncy because of that support over here. This is the other way you could count this up here. I kind of like this way better, but it does make this a little bit weird up here, but it does fit quite well. Anyway, it's anyway, just shooting the breeze on that. So yeah, and this would give, you know, the length of this and the length of this here would give some sort of equality between wave A and wave C here for this. I won't spend too much time on this. We'll look at it on the indices, but while we're just while we're here, this is sort of another little way to view it. So from wave B up here that we just talked about, looking down here as 1 and 2, and then looking all of this down here as 3 and 4 here. Now 4s can get a bit complicated here, and there is a little 5 waves here by the looks of it. So is that 5 waves there on the end of that session? Don't know. Anyway, it will resolve itself and then move down for wave 5. Now this is the short path to the downside. If we were looking for a bigger picture to the downside, then we would look at all of this here as wave 1 and 2. So I just think we'll just give it a little bit of time here. I think it's going to slow down actually, so it needs to come lower but slower, you know. This is the NASDAQ here. This is also the weekly chart, and where I've got this wave 3 here, right, this wave 3 here on the other tech stocks that we've been looking at, I've got it as this wave 3, so I'll need to change it to this blue wave 3 here for all the tech stocks. I just didn't get time to do it this morning. I just spent time looking, assessing the situation. But so yeah, obviously there's going to be support at the top of the previous wave 3. The market can pull back to the wave 4 one lesser degree here for this. This particular pattern here will be the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, an ABC pattern. So a classic trading levels pattern here. Let me just get this image into perspective here, into the frame. There we go. I'll just set it for... So basically we've hit the 20,000 and we're in this ABC pattern here, so we'll need this and then this. So this is where we are here for this. So we've got the arrival here and we're looking for the reaction here. So on the weekly chart, on the daily chart, here we can look at it like this. In this case here, as we noted last, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here. There's normally, as I mentioned, there's normally some sort of relationship, take it with a pinch of salt, between wave A and wave C, or wave C can be 61.8% of wave A. There's normally some sort of fib relationship there for that. But in this case here, I've also got this counted up here a little bit differently as well. So in the other chart on the weekly, we've got this one here. So I'm just toying with a couple of different ways of looking at all of this. I just don't like to get sort of... I like to sort of stay as sure as I possibly can on the intraday count where people are trading. But outside of the box, I'm always trying to be, you know, flexible, liquid. So yeah, all I can say is we've got to come down further. But in this case, because we've got 5 waves here, we've got a good case to get 5 waves here. So in this instance here, we may get it slightly different. We may get like a little wave 1 and 2 here, and then 3, 4, 5, something like this here. But we don't have to do anything, you know. If we can observe this here slowing down rather than speeding up, then we know that we're on the right track, okay? Then we just need to wait for the first little impulse wave to come off the low here. Then we can start building in. Okay, so that's on the daily. I think it's be on the 20. So yeah, so this one here from this top section here, we've got 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 for the ABC here. This could possibly go over here on some of the, but it doesn't matter anyway. But so in this case here, I was looking at the worst case scenario where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down here, which would give me some sort of length to, you know, to match this one here. So I think that's okay like that. We could look at the S&P like that, like we just did as well. It's quite possible, you know, just on the long shot that we could put wave C here and finish off here and then go up at that point. So we'll be all over this little move in here as well. But it's a little bit short for what I want. So just keep working it, but yeah, it'll come to pass. I should just go to the 1000 tick here and just show this here. So 2K here. So this is just the B wave here. So this is looking at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here for this. So we can have one in place already and wave 2 here. On the S&P, we're looking at this as a wave 4 here. So we'll just see the 18 here, number 8, 1, 5, and then 8. This is going to bring in good support here. So we could, you know, we could finish in, I mean, I was assuming that would finish in group 2 here. That's its job, you know, to find support from the 8, from the 20 here. So when we're talking about a large number here, group 2 below and group 1 above is the swing range for all of this. Anyway, more on this on the when we do the indices. So, but just, you know, in taking on board what we just looked at with the S&P and the NASDAQ. So number 1 is that we're going to 1 degree higher, 1 step along the way. And we know that we need to come down further. There's a couple of ways we can look at this as those indices coming down a little bit further. But now we'll go into stock, and with the stock we can look at you know, how they could possibly come down. So with Apple here, this particular pattern here, we need to assume that it's going to, you know, move lower. I mean, I could, for all instant purposes, I could put wave C here because it's made the low here as an ABC here for this, but it's probably not the case. So we could go long above the top here. That would solve that problem. But in the meantime, I think we need to, based on what we're looking at across the markets, this market hasn't really moved down very much, has it, like the other markets? Do you know what I mean? So it's holding up quite well, but this does make a better corrective pattern than it does more than a bullish pattern. So we should assume that it's going to come down. I just don't think it's going to come down very far. That's all. Just go to the daily chart here for a moment. So yeah, so you know, this is the way for 1 lesser degree here, and it's quite a simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's quite a simple structure. So I'm quite happy that we're to call it a wave 4 here, but we just know wave 4s are complicated. I could put it there, or I could put it here. You know, that's the thing. This was a little bit old, this one here, but probably just explaining something. So anyway, it's not over until the big lady sings in this case, so we just have to wait it out. If we see some really strong move, well then, okay, we could, you know, run with that here for this. So that's where Apple is, and Amazon, we need to look at this. Doesn't seem to have that much further to go down, actually. If we consider all of this, like the NASDAQ 5 waves down, and then a B wave over here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a nice third wave, and then the fourth wave struggling here a little bit. So, you know, it could go up a little bit higher. We could look at the 38.2%, so it can come a little bit higher and all those sort of things. But we don't have to sort of do anything here at the moment, so we can expect, you know, it to try to push up or something and then move down. Now, will it extend down to the 150 here? I don't know, but we just need to track those 5 waves. Once we have those 5 waves, we can start to build in on the first 5 waves up. Now, will we catch the first one, or do we need to wait around? And what does the rest of the market look like at that particular point as well? Have we got 5 waves up on on most of the markets? You know, can we start using this now? You know, those type of things, you know. So there's work to be done, but all we're doing is just going to the next step, you know. So this this wave 3 here will now be this wave 3 here, by the way. So we'll just bump that up there and put this down here, and I'll slowly move those across, and I just have to, you know, enlarge these as well here. So this will be this wave A here and wave B here and these sorts of things, you know what I mean? So I just got to bump everything up a little bit, but I'm not going to bore you to death, but I will be changing them. So if you do see them change, this is how I'm changing them, you know. So but yeah, apart from the labelings, the main point here is that we are looking at this in terms of just going down to the next step. So looking at, you know, an A and a B and a C wave here, and then see how it looks. You know, I feel like we're on the right track, but I don't know that. Do you know what I mean? I need to get evidence for that. And if this is, we're not getting impulse waves up here, you know, well then, you know, obviously I'll be aware of that, and I'll be able to say that we're going down further in a bigger pattern. So it's just one step at a time. And Nvidia here as well. So we've got wave 3 here. This will have to be bumped up as well. So wave 3, an A and a B. And I'm going to look at this as 1 and 2. And I could change this around. Actually, I could put wave 3 over here, but it doesn't matter. Still, whichever way I go, I still leave wave 4 there. In fact, it's probably better there. And I still need to move down here further as well in this. So when we're looking at this here on the daily chart or weekly chart, this is it here. So these two, I had two targets here. So it doesn't really matter. They're quite close to 100 anyway, you know. So it's just, anyway, it's just research work. So I just feel that we still need to come down, but 1 is the strongest number. It's going to give it a really good support there anyway, and it's not going to let go of that. So we just got to wait. That's all. Just got to wait for the first impulse wave. You know, it's like any correction. It's like, you know, we've had this correction here, and it's like, is this 5 waves up? No. Okay, I've got to wait for this one. Okay, we got it. We're probably long in all of these. You know, we don't miss much, but, you know, we just have to be patient going through corrective patterns. And I know that it's not easy. So Meta Platforms here is a little bit different as well. It's sort of stayed up quite nicely. So I could look at this here, 5 waves down for the A, the B and the C, and be done here. This could be a leading stock to the upside. Now it doesn't look like 5 waves here, so we could put a B wave here. But the reason I've got that there for is because when we look at that on the intraday, this move here going to the upside is a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So it's a nice impulse wave coming up off the low here. So you can't really see it, and this is the low here. So it's aftermarket activity. So I'm just got to be a bit aware of that. So this low here really is this one over here on the off market, you know. So it's a little bit tricky when you get, you know, curb trading going on after hour market stuff, you know, and so you got to kind of look at both of them and get a bit of an idea. But we don't have to do anything here. If we, you know, we can go long above the top here. That's fine. But as always, you know, we'll probably drift down and probably get something like this, and then we can drag that over to here. It'll be something like that, you know, but not quite ready yet. But it is one of the ones that would be leading to the upside. So we know that we need to, you know, we need to work on that. I haven't really bothered to pull this apart because I didn't really know if we should be using this spike here or not, and it's not ready. As I mentioned before, we just have to wait till we get 5 waves up here, then we can buy the pullback. It's simple as that. So this will still come down further here, so we're just not interested, and I'm not going to spend my time working that out at the moment. So Alphabet here, so once again we'll also need to lift this up here as well. So these will go up a degree of structure, but at the same time I'm just trying to figure out how far down do we need to come at this point, you know. I want to see here if it rejects group 2 here, because if I get this 165 here, if that becomes the retested resistance here, that means getting the first low below the level and retesting it. Normally when it does this, it will get back up in there and will go again and go up, you know. But if it takes the low out here, then it exposes ourselves for the 150 at that point, you know. Sorry, I just got to set that up again. If 165 becomes the resistance, then we need to look at this 150 here for this. So I'll just see how this goes. I mean, this market doesn't move very much, you know. It's like the paint drying, so just depends on the weather. So we'll just see how that goes. And the same with Microsoft as well. I do believe we need to come down lower. Just a little, this spike here also makes it a little bit difficult as well, but we do need to, I can see here, for example, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, so we still need to come down for at least 1 here. Yes, it could go to the upside here, but I'm probably better off looking at that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then going up at that point. So nothing to do at that point with Microsoft. And Tesla here, we looked at this as a triangle pattern, as the A, the B, the C, the D, and the E over here. But I'm just keeping an open mind on this. This is a good case for this market. We know, you know, EVs are being outsold by hybrids, and you know, you can hear China's breath on the doorstep with BDY and so on. So yeah, there's good reason fundamentally for it to move on down lower, but I think that we just got to be aware that we could come down just a tad further and then go up with the rest of the markets. So the case for this is that we've been looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and we could still do that, and we'll do that on the intraday. This count here is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here with an A and a B, and then 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here, and we're counting down as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I just want to give, if the 200 becomes the retested resistance, then we can look at the triangle pattern. But I just want to, you know, I just want to be mindful that this 5 waves coming down here finishes, we could be moving up at that point. So I don't want to turn bearish unless I get the closest largest number here as the resistance. So it's something we just have to work through. It you know, everybody has their opinions, and that's good. I just want to stay, you know, I got to keep, you know, I got to keep it's all about the trading hat, not so much about the analyst hat, as much as interesting as analysis is with patterns. So we've got this as wave 3 here, but it could be wave 1 as well, an A and a B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. So I think that I haven't pulled this apart, but we'll be pretty close here. What I'm looking for is if we do get 5 waves up here, then we're going to be looking at the retracement area here to move up there a bit, you know. And yes, both ways we're going to get a bounce off this here anyway. This trend here has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and we can see the middle here. So we're going to get a move up anyway, but will it be, you know, will it be in 5 waves, and will we take advantage of it, and where will the rest of the market be, and all these sorts of things. So we just keep observing this this market. And then we come over to the crypto, and Bitcoin here, we've been looking at wave 3 here. I may need to bring it up to this wave 3 as well, because I like to keep Bitcoin in line with the NASDAQ. And we've been looking at it as an A and a B and a C for wave 4 here. In this case, we can look at it as wave 1 and an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here. That's possible. But with Ethereum and Solana and a few of those, they're breaching this low here. So it may be that we'll need to look at this in terms of a C wave down here for wave 4. I don't have to move in for Bitcoin. I don't have to move to this point yet here, but all those open and closes there, that's got meaning. So we really want that market to, to have that support at that in that zone there. We don't want it any further down. But if it does come down, this is where it is. And the takeaway here by the buy is that, as I mentioned before, this area here is got overlapping wave structures, so it's corrective in nature, so it's a bullish corrective pattern. So any new move down here is don't think of it as a bloodbath, think of it as an opportunity, and count your blessings. So just looking at this here on the, I think we're on 5K here. Let me just check it out. So yeah, we've had this wave 4 here. We've been looking at this as wave 1 to the upside in different ways. We've also been looking at wave 1 over here, but I think here's better. And we can look at this as an A and a B and a C wave finishing here, and that's the end of it. Is that the case, or do I need to look at this as wave 3 here and wave 4 here? I could also look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 in here. So I'll get a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 in here. So it's not a big deal for me to bring it down further. But like I said, we don't particularly want to see it come down further in, as looking at it as a wave 1 and 2 here. We're kind of, we don't want to be down any further. This is getting close to the 78.6 anyway at this point, so yeah, it's right on that 78.6. So we don't particularly want to see it any further down than that either. But when we come to the other crypto, this is Ethereum here. So in this case, we need to look at wave 3 over here and wave 4 coming down here, because we've breached this low here now. So I'm thinking of a W and then an X and then an A and a B and a C wave here to finish this off. So in this instance here, I think we've got a little rally and another little move down to finish that off. It could be quite possible to also look at this. I've got this over here as a wave 3 here and a wave 4 here and a wave 5 here. So in this instance, it would be a bigger move down as well, actually, from here as 1 and 2 here, and then a third wave here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the third wave, the fourth wave, and the fifth wave here. So it could get a bit more, it could get uglier at this point. So that would be looking at this here as some sort of A wave here, and well, yeah, I can still just go an A and a B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably not the case, but it's just good to, if you're going to be going long, you want to have a look at all the bearish patterns, So that's where that is. So that's Ethereum. And Solana as well. So I've just kept it as simple as I can with the wave 3 here, but an A wave here, and then an A and a B wave and a C wave up here for the B. So an A and a B. I know you could WXY it, but it's come quite low down here, and there is good support here, but I wanted to also count 5 waves down here as well. And there was a few different ways I could do this, but at first glance, looking at this here as 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this. So I could sort of do that a bit differently as well, but and then 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 the third, and the fourth wave pulling back to the fourth wave of 1 lesser degree there, and then down for 5 here of 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 4. So finishing off in this sort of space here. Now I've probably dragged it out a little bit too long here, but I just wanted to have a look at the worst possible scenario, So down to 100 is possible at this point. Now, if I see a change in this, well then, I could look at this here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and finished here, and we could just go straight up from there. Now, if that's going to be the case, well then we'll pick it up and we'll go long on the 150 with a little classic trading levels pattern sitting on top of that. I'm not sure why they're all popping up so big, but there we go. So we'll need this sort of pattern here for that, or this one here where it comes back above, but that 150 as the support. Alrighty, quite a long video, so but yeah, we covered pretty much a lot of stuff, so that's all good. So yeah, just getting back a little bit, we know that people are moving out of the tech stocks. There's only, like I mentioned, $300 million that went into it, and we're seeing nearly $1 billion get rotated into utilities and I think it was real estate. But in terms of the NASDAQ, at least here, going back to the 20k here, or this will do the job here, or maybe even the daily here, the weekly. Let me just squash this back in here, and we'll just look at this here on the weekly, just to get a bigger picture here. So it's, in a nutshell, we just got to figure out what this wave 4 here is. This one here is quite simple. So far it's quite simple. This one here was a bit complex. This one here was simple, so this could get a bit more complex, but we'll get our lead from stock. So basically what I'm saying is that we'll come down a bit further. There is good support in the market, but we do need to come down further. Over the next few sessions, we'll look at how the market's moving down in terms of speed and pattern and volume, and then we'll make some assessments on that. But I think this is pretty much where we're at the moment. Alrighty, cheers.